What up, good people? Good morning, chicken farmers, and hello to everyone else out there who happens to find this video about chicken. I wanted to talk this morning a little bit about foraging from an equippable, sippable perspective, and just kind of talking through some strategies and some things to consider when foraging in order to get the most out of the foraging exercise and experience. So I was listening to a Twitter space the other day, and someone mentioned that right now in the game of chicken with crafting and foraging, it's all about getting the most efficient resources out of our farmland. And that is done in a couple of different ways. And I wanted to talk about that because it's done by taking these green tiles here that you see and equipping those with different other tiles like these green spaces. You'll see a lot of them. I've equipped them with some stone because I'm having problems with stone. I have another farmland that has a focus on mech, so you can see that I've equipped that farmland, that open green space, with mech and stone. And so, that is what equipping or quips are all about. And that is one of the base, I think the base steps, the base strategies in foraging is about getting your farmland to be as efficient as possible. And that's done, first of all, with taking the blank space, the green space, and equipping it with a resource that you need to get more of, that you don't have on your native farmland. And then once you have equipped it, then you get a base percentage, right? Like in this case of mech, you got a 40% as your base percent. And then you fertilize the tile, right? So you fertilize the tile, add fert to increase that base percentage by another 10% in this case, or whatever. There's a combined tile rarity, so the number of different tiles. And then there's the items. So depending on the item that you equip or sip onto that tile, you're going to get another added percentage. So in this case, you can see the mech, the retro arcade machine, doesn't provide an additional percentage, but the sips do. So this sip here, the smog, gives you a 4% added 4% bonus while reducing the mana chances by 1%. But that goes into your total, that 4% goes into your total percentage. And then depending on if you have LP farm, there's a fertility bonus associated with that, which you can see I don't have that right now. But this makes up my chances of 54% chance when I send out a bird to forage that they're going to come back with some mech. You can look at stone, and I started off with a 45% base chance. It's now 57%. That's just by equipping the farmland, by fertilizing the resource bonus, by having a combined tile rarity, because I've got 4 tiles, each of them 0.5%. There's no item bonus on this farmland, and there's no LP farm fertility. But if I had an item, if I had a sip or I had a quip that gave an additional bonus, I'd get that on this farmland. But I have a 57% chance of sending a bird out on that and it coming back with that resource, 57% opportunity. So this is how you equip. You can equip your farmland. Let's see, where's this one? Stone. I think stone's over here. One of these are stone. Anyway, I've equipped my farmland, and then I've added some fertilizer. And then I have looked for some sips for the farmland. So if you go to crafting over here, and we're still on farmland, and we're over on sips. So smog is one of those that we can use smog because it increases our chance of getting mech. If I wanted to get dark matter, same thing, right? So this 4%, because it is a farmland sip, right, increases my chances by that percentage, right? So you've got the initial base tile, you've got the fertilizer bonus, you've got the LP bonus, you've got the item bonus. These are all farmland opportunities, equips, and sips. The other opportunity that exists is by equipping our birds with resource specific slots that help boost that particular resource trait. So you can see here, this rooster here has a 61%. So our base mech is 54%, right? 54%. That's the base chances after I've fertilized it, and rarities, after I've added any sips or any tiles that have a boost, after my LP farm fertility bonus, my base chance is 54%. So when I go down here and I equip this bird, well, you can see this bird here has 54% because I haven't added any equippables. This bird here has a 61%, so a 7% chance increase to go out and forage and come back out with mech. So I've equipped that bird with another mech equipable. So now I've increased my chances of that bird coming back with mech. And there's open slots. So, obviously it's going to depend on what slots available, but most of the equippables for birds have an any slot. So at the very minimal, you should be able to get at least one equipable on a bird, sometimes two, sometimes three, four, in this case, sometimes five. So this bird, 4416, has open slots, four open slots, 4416. So let's go look at this one real quick. $44.16. And let's click on that bird. And we can see that this bird has open trim, open tail, open neck, and open head. So 4 open slots. At its core, at its origin, the rugged feet of Vaxium, 4% mech. So it's already a mech machine, and then 0.5% veg. So I can boost my veg capabilities even more by equipping that bird either at the head, the neck, the tail, and or trim. I don't think there's any trim equips out yet. But you can see these open slots are now opportunities to equip the bird and get that bird producing and yielding even more through equipping, and depending on the sips available, maybe even more through the sips. So as you can see here, my bird 4416 has an equip. I've equipped that bird with a mech neck slot. And so it shows you the available slot. So there's still 4 more slots that I could equip that bird with. Now it could be mech, but it could also be stone, or it could be more Vaxium. Any available equips that are on the market, I could use to further boost the efficiency or the yield of this particular bird so that it brings back more resources. So there's a nice tracking tool in here that the devs have provided as well in foraging, and that shows our success in recent forages. So I usually look at that every day just to see how effective or efficient that bird has been in coming back with foraging. But anyway, so we have the ability to equip our farmland. We have the ability to equip our birds. And I think that is very important that I fully leverage the equip slots, because as you can see, I've got a 61% chance with only one slot equipped for mech, and I've got 4 left. So I can, because this farmland that I'm using this bird on has mech, veg, wood, stone, like it's a rich farmland. It's got a good mixture. It's a seven resource farmland. I'm going to equip that bird more. I'm going to fill up all these slots. And then where possible, I'm going to look to add sips. So what kind of sips might I look to add with that bird who's got some mech and some evaxium capabilities? I do have another farmland that has evaxium on it, and he actually is on that farmland too. So I'd go over to the crafting section. I'd click on the birds. I'd look at the sips and see what opportunities exist. Well, there goes red chips. Allows me to equip this sip, because this is a sip, with that bird so that he can forage every evaxium tile twice. It may take a little longer, 1 extra hour to forage, but every tile twice for evaxium. So that's huge. If I need to get a veg boost, I've got veg. If I need to reduce my foraging time, I can do that. So these are sips for the birds. And again, I think it's very important for me to be focused on foraging efficiencies, getting my farmland as efficient as it possibly can be, getting the most out of that farmland. And that means I need to manage my sips on the farmland very effectively. So I've got a focus on mech on this farmland. And this particular smog, of course, gives me a 4% bonus. Acid rain increases my chance for evaxium. Now I'm out of acid rain. You can see I've used 48 out of 48 on this sip. I went with the smog because I needed to get a 4% boost on my mech, but it also reduces the number of foraging chicken and rooster by 1. So I offset that by adding a sip of pleasant spring breeze, because it increases the number of chicken and forage by 1, but it increases the time by 15 minutes. So I lose 1 by using smog, but I add 1 right back by offsetting it with pleasant spring breeze. So these are sips. These are sips. These are specific sips for that farmland. And then I also have the equips. And I've equipped my farmland with mech and some evaxium, right? So maximizing the use of sips and equips on the farmland, and then maximizing the use of sips and equips on the birds is the next frontier. Conceivably, I should have all of these slots filled by cockfighting time. And that's kind of where my focus and emphasis is right now. It's really focused on compounding back into the ecosystem, compounding any returns on any items that I might craft and sell, compounding all of the earned daily foraging resources, compounding, building those sips and equips and putting those now on my birds, because I've already equipped all my farmlands and I've got enough equips on my farmlands to pretty much target what I want. Like I'm getting low on evaxium. So I need to really spin back around and go after my evaxium a little more aggressively, because as I'm building some of my other equips for my birds, I need evaxium. So I'm getting low on my evaxium counts. So I need to make sure that I have a good balance of some of the rare resources. Now we're going to experience a rebalancing of the recipes the devs have told us in Chikn And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but we know that it might be a little tougher to make a vacuum. Might be tougher to make tungsten and gold and dark matter. But I also know that it's tough enough anyway because I only have one actual native Vaxium tile. I have two equippables. But it's all about, for me right now, it's all about foraging, and more foraging. Equipping the farmlands is done. Now it's about equipping my birds. Now it's about making sure that my birds are all equipped because I really, 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 really need to max out my production. I think when we get to the period of chicken fighting, cockfighting, and the weapons and the things that we will need in order to craft, the resources are going to be heavy. The requirements are going to be heavy. And I think right now everyone is looking at, you know, the fact that right? Veg is so underutilized, but as soon as we change those recipes and they rebalance, veg and lumber are going to be huge. So, the great thing is that if you have some of these, if you're compounding these foraging resources back into creating more equippables, different equippables across veg, across mech, across lumber, across stone, if you're using those resources to build those for yourself first, and then build the bird equippables and then have some sips built up, you'll be in position to be able to pivot, right? So right now I've been focused heavily on stone. You can see stone here, stone on this farmland, stone on this farmland. Previously, I was focused heavy on mech, right? So being able to shift our production focus and capacity towards certain resources is it's only natural that we should have the capability to do that. And whether you have one farmland or you have two or three or four, it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of how we best utilize the resources that we have. And so, for me, it's just about accumulation of resources and using those resources, compounding what I'm foraging daily, and to continue to build my capabilities to be able to come back with more each time my birds go out. And the way I'm going to do that is going to be equipping those birds. That is the only way I'm going to continue to get more yield, is by equipping my birds with more equippables and then also necessary and specific sips. But it's about compounding. This game is, to me, seemingly always about compounding. Always having the ability to compound back into the game is so vital and so important, because you never really know when there's going to be a shift in the game, a shift in the strategy that the devs come with. And the one thing that I've noticed is if I'm always reinvesting it back into the game and getting myself in good position to play the game as the game is being rolled out, I'm always in a position to where I'm ready to take advantage of the next step of the game. And also I noticed something too, by playing the game as the devs roll it out, I don't have a lot of other things to do. Like right now, I've taken the time to build up my farmland. I feed my rooster every day. I don't have to feed my chicken anymore. They're at a size to where I'm comfortable with what they're producing. They're producing enough eggs on a daily basis for me to feed my rooster, and have a few eggs left over, so that I can use those eggs, some of those eggs, over in the foraging space. So I don't have to feed my chicken anymore. I feed the rooster every day. Of course, I got to keep the fertilizer coming. But as I play the game in every step or stage of the game, it actually makes it easier. I don't have to worry about going backwards and doing something I should have been doing last year or doing something I should have been doing, a couple of months ago. just keep playing the game as the devs roll it out, and it makes it easier. So right now, all I'm doing is just claiming my foraging resources, building some more equippables, sending them back out there, working on efficiencies, making sure and realign some birds. Like yesterday, I realigned some birds. I had some birds that had some really good avaxium yields that were on this farmland, and I put them over here. And then I had some birds that had some really good stone that were on this farmland, and I put them here and here because I've got more tiles of stone out there. So all I'm really doing now is just claiming, adding sips where necessary, shifting out my equips, building equips for the birds, and then getting them equipped, and building up their resource gathering capabilities. And this is real important for me because I don't have a lot of legendary, like I'm a late comer to chicken. I don't have a lot of legendary roosters with all these fantastic capabilities to go out and forage or chicken. So the great thing about that is that with these equippables, I can build these birds up and equip them with the necessary equippables to come back and give me the resources in great capacities and great quantities that ordinarily I might get. Like I have a legendary, but even this legendary, I've got I'm gonna equip that legendary, right? Because this legendary's got some good stone capabilities, but I'm gonna equip that legendary. But anyway, even the common birds, I have a lot of common birds. So even the common birds, have the ability to be very efficient and effective at foraging if I equip them with sips and equips. So I think that's the name of the game right now. I think that's the focus for me, is to just play the game right now, and to work on fully optimizing the capabilities of my birds and my farmland. Be nimble, stay nimble and quick, and be ready to make the shift and changes, and swap out these equipable tiles when I need to, in order to focus on the area of emphasis that I need to focus on. So anyway, I wanted to kind of share that. I think it's pretty cool. This stage of the game we're at in foraging and crafting, the close the loop, if you will. But make no mistake, I think it's all about production, capabilities, abilities, and maximizing the yields that our farmland and our birds are bringing, because it's all about the accumulation of those 10 resources. And when we accumulate those 10 resources, the blueprints are going to continue to change, continue to evolve. The number of blueprints will continue to grow, and different ones will be coming out to help us create different things and craft different things. And having a sufficient supply of resources on hand, to really be available to shift the production, is very important from my perspective. And so it's just about head down, sending the chickens out every day, let them come back in, and finding ways to compound those resources into increasing the yields every day that those birds are coming back with. So I just want to talk a little bit about that and emphasize, for me, I'm focused on resource accumulation, compounding what I accumulate back into building quips and sips, and making my birds and my farmland more efficient so that I can continue to build and grow the silo, and store up and get ready for the next frontier that's coming, and also continue to participating and growing what I have right now. So I think that is it. That is all I had for today. I wanted to talk sips and equips, and really talk a little bit about the bird equip and sip capabilities, and making sure that I'm fully leveraging those, because it's all about full yield, full efficiency, and full effectiveness of foraging. All right, guys, I think that's it. Take care, and let me know if you have any questions, comments, open to any feedback as well. Thanks so much.